Okay, hi guys. So in this lesson, we're gonna learn to use the if statement. So we're gonna create a function which takes in a value and returns the absolute value of that value. Okay. So we can write all our functions into one module if we like, or if you want, you can write it into another module. I prefer to write most of my functions in one module. So just under our previous function, we're gonna type in the word function again, and then we're gonna call this absolute value. Of course, Excel already has an absolute value function, so we're just gonna try to recreate it. Okay. So firstly, we're gonna take in an integer. So do we take in an integer? No, we don't actually, because we have decimal places here. So we need to take in a double. So let's call it value as double. Okay, and then we need to return a double. Okay, it's going to be a positive value, but it's going to be a double. So in here, we need to say if the value is negative, we return a positive version of it. If it's not negative, then we return its original value. So in order to write an if statement, we just type in if, and then in the thing after the if, we do a logical test. So we're testing whether value is negative or positive. So value. So to test whether a value is positive, we just say it's greater or equal to 0. So positive or equal to 0, because when it's equal to 0, we're not going to do anything with it. Then, okay, so here's our logical test, and then after that you just write then, and then go on to a new line. Then once you have the new line, you can write in what you want to do whenever it's positive. So when it's positive, we just return its original value. Okay, so nothing really happened there. Now to end the statement, we just type in end if. Okay, so and then now we need another statement to say when it's positive. Sorry, when it's negative. So when it's less than 0, then absolute value equals to value multiplied by -1. And then end if. Okay, so let's have a look. Equals absolute value. Let's see if it works. Okay, looks like it's working perfectly. Okay, so back to our program. There's something really inefficient for the program. Now, we don't really need to check whether it's negative if it's already positive, because it can only be either positive or negative. So what we can actually do is we can tell the statement to only check whether it's negative if it's not positive. So instead of having two if statements, we're going to have a if then else statement. Okay, so to do that, all we need to do is we type in if the first value, and then we do then, and then we do whatever we want whenever it's positive. Then we type in else. So else stands for all the other cases that wasn't true. So if it's not positive, it has to be negative, and then we type in whatever we want to do when it's not positive. Okay, so this works perfectly as well. So again, I'm gonna type it again. Just delete all of this. Equals absolute value okay, works perfectly. Now the reason why we do this is because the program now doesn't need to run as many calculations as before, because before we had to check whether it's positive, then we had to check whether it's negative. Even though when it's already positive, we're still checking whether it's negative. Right here, if it's positive, then we're not going to check whether it's negative anymore. So if it's positive, then it just doesn't do anything. It doesn't get to this else point. Okay, so you want to be using else in your if statements. There's also another thing, it's called else if. So we're going to be talking about that a bit later. Okay, so in this lesson you learn how to use the if statements.